Okay, what we'll do is I think we'll just let other people join whilst we start chatting, because we do only have 30 minutes and I'm very conscious that we need to get through the questions that we've had submitted. So hello, everyone. And thank you for joining our very first monthly Zoom support session here with Duport. My name is Rebecca, and I am responsible for overseeing all of the marketing and operations here at Duport. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I am deeply committed to ensuring that Duport serves everybody to the best of its ability. So before we begin, I'd like to introduce you all to a very special lady, Ann Menzies-Blythe. She's had some top positions at some very renowned institutions, and we're thrilled that she's agreed to collaborate here with us today. I don't know, Anne, if you wanted to say a few words before we started.
Yes, it's lovely to be here. Thank you, Rebecca, for inviting me. And hello, everyone. Yes, I've done a lot of blue chip board companies, and I've also had my own company, and I'm now a sole trader because I come right the way through. I've run a charity and I've been a charity chair. So one way and another, I've sort of bumped into a lot of different situations. So hopefully I will have an answer, or at least be helpful in just discussing something.
Well, you always have when I've had questions for you, Anne, so I knew you'd be perfect for helping out our customers too. So I think we'll just have a few housekeeping rules before we begin. Like most Zooms, just keep your microphones on mute unless you're speaking to Anne and I. If you've got any questions, there's the chat box there, and I'll be keeping an eye on those and passing that over to Anne. So thanks once again for being here, and I'll get started with the first question. Right, so Anne, Babatundi's asked, I've heard that changes in director and shareholders' detail structures need to be reported. How do I go about doing this?
You go onto the government website, and you go, which is Companies House. You'll just follow the signage that says you want to change director or add a director, and you just go through it. So as a director, you've got to also put it in your board minutes that you're appointing or somebody is leaving, okay? So that it matches up with the information in Companies House.
That's brilliant. And Babatunda, if you wanted us to send you a template of some minutes just to help you out with putting those together, let me know and I will get that over to you. Right, Anne, this is from Peter. I've just gone from working for a company to setting up my own kitchen fitting business directly for consumers. What is the best way for me to market? That's from Peter.
Well, it's an interesting one. Actually, one of the best ways to start is to do it through word of mouth and through contact, because that way you can build your business effectively, do a good job and move on from there. In which case I go local first, and I'd actually go for the local press. I'd go into social media and keep it containable at the early stage, because running your own business, it sounds amazing. You know you want to be top of Everest, but you've got to start in the foothills and build it according to your own energy. Word of mouth is beyond price. And when it comes to kitchen fitting, my goodness, you know, the number of people come around for coffee and say, oh, this is a wonderful kitchen. Oh, I found this man, and it's beyond price. And indeed, when you go into and finish a kitchen, if somebody's really happy, get a testimonial, and also ask them to pass on any leaflets to anybody that they know. Go in with a few leaflets about how brilliant you are. So that's where I start. Obviously, as time goes on, you can do more.
The other thing as well, Peter, if you'd like, is we've got some guides on how to market as a local trader. So again, if you'd like me to send you over information on that, I can get that to you. Another thing I've always thought, I don't know how many networking events you've ever been to, Anne, but there's always a distinct lack of traders there. And I always think if you had to turn up at some of these networking events, it would go down an absolute storm. Typically, a lot of tradesmen, it's already word of mouth, but I understand when you're starting out, it's quite difficult. But I think those networking events would be absolutely brilliant particularly for local tradesmen in getting started.
And one of the basic ways to do that is to actually go to your local chamber of commerce breakfast or something like that. And there are other, from that, you can actually get other breakfast organisations in your area that you can go to. And it means getting up early. It means you have a breakfast. I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all the tradesmen I know, they typically are all up at 5, half 5 in the morning. So I don't think that's too, the ones I've experienced anyway. Right. I'm afraid we're rushing through because we've had loads of questions. We had one in this morning from Kevin. Kevin's here, actually, Kevin Wood.
Kevin. Hi.
Hi, Kevin. You can unmute if you want to speak to Anne directly. Kevin asked, how can we check the terms and conditions and privacy policy has suitable clauses without employing an expensive compliance lawyer?
Oh, Kevin, yes, I understand exactly where you are. I don't know what you do, but I gathered from your heading that you might actually deal with people in emotional situations. So I thought, sorry?
It's coaching, and marriage coaching.
Oh, lovely. So the thing is that you're dealing with human conditions. So there were two sides. One is how you can build your compliance. That is to say, the stuff that you have to put in to look after your company. And I came up with a number of different ways you could do it. One of the ways was, again, we go back to the local Chamber of Commerce. First of all, those breakfast things would be quite useful for you. But the other thing is, too, that you can actually get free legal advice for an annual fee. The other one is that if you've got director's insurance, which is always a good idea if you've got a company, if you look at director's insurance, again, an annual fee, but you'll also have within that legal support. So that might be another way for you to do it. And the other thing is you've got the two sides. One is your sort of, bear in mind the government are really pushing us towards appreciation of ethics, appreciation of human condition, community and gender. So therefore, to be aware of the government agenda is something that's quite important. But the other side of it, as I saw, was that you need to be absolutely clear, and I hear what you say about coaching and support. There is a line beyond which you cannot go with all coaching and support. And I think you've got to be clear in your conditions that you are there to support, you're there to help, but at the end of the day, any action or reaction that a person takes as a result of the coaching is within their remit. It's not yours. You are not responsible for the actions of those people that take your service. You travel beside them, but then they take the action from there. So I think it's important to get that thing into your conditions. Am I making myself clear?
No, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we have a coaching agreement which the clients have to sign, but it's more whether we've got the clauses right on the website as far as privacy and terms and conditions. I was not sure about really.
Another thing that I was going to make you aware of is there are offer legal support now through templated documents. I don't know if you've seen them. There's places like, I scribbled some down, Rocket Lawyer, Law Depot, or Simply Docs. Now, with all of those, I had a quick look at some of them this morning. They do offer additional support, and it will be a lot more economical than the support that you would get directly going to a law firm, for example. And I know this because I don't know if you saw any communication from us that came through Credit Focus. Now, Credit Focus is a free tool available to all of our customers where they can monitor other businesses for credit scores and things like that, just to keep an eye on your suppliers. But also within that package is something called LegalZoom. And within LegalZoom, what you can do is you can get all of your documents, your privacy policies, your terms and conditions. It's a fill-in auto template, but there's also a free 24/7 helpline. So I would say is a really good place to start. The credit support side of it is free, but the legal support, they charge a subscription. I think it's $14.99 a month. But the key thing to remember, and I probably shouldn't say this, but the key thing to remember is you don't have to stay subscribed. So in theory, you could hop on, get the documents you need, speak to the support teams there, and then not continue with the subscription. you may want to subscribe again later to recheck your documents. So it's a very economical way of obtaining all of that legal stuff. They've got like a legal health check as well, where you can go through and answer the questions, and it will generate all the documents that it recommends you need for your business. So I definitely have a look at that. If you want me to send you the link for that, Kevin, I'll email it over to you once we've finished. And if you've got any questions, come back to me. The other thing that I know about, as this has come up before, is I know that certain universities run law clinics which are free. So it might be worth having a look to see if there's any available, and then you can ask them your questions and you get free advice. And it's all under supervision, so they're well worth looking at.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to ask while you've got Anne here.
No, that's it for now.
Okay. Right, brilliant. I'll move on. If anyone else has joined, wants to ask a question, that's fine too. What we've said is people who are here, who've joined live, they get priority over people who have submitted questions for us to answer. So if you do have anything you'd like to answer and to ask, feel free to put it into the chat. Right, let's have a look. Right, Alexis wants to know, how often and what exactly do I need to file with Companies House?
You need to file on your first year at 18 months your company accounts, and you will probably get reminders anyway. That's quite difficult in a way because you want to be sure you use the right language. So again, there is support out there, and you probably got that to hand anyway, Rebecca. But the thing is that 18 months, and you do get a leeway of time on your first year. And you can take a little longer. After that time, you have to file every year, and any changes that have happened in the company, it's important that in your year-end accounts, you have a director's report to actually say that everything's fine, this is what's happened, this is what you plan to happen, and that the company is fit to go on for another year. It's fit for purpose. And that's a very important statement, because Companies House want to know that you actually fit to carry on for another year. It doesn't have to be long, the director's statement. It's good for you to write that, because that way, if somebody looks up your company, looks up your company accounts, it comes over as a personal message, if you like, from the directors about your successes, about the challenges, and about the way forward.
Sam's alluded to, we do send out reminders to all of our customers about when their filings are due at Companies House. We can file things like your confirmation statement. If you're finding it a bit complicated, Duport can do that for you. If you're not trading, you're still dormant, we can also file those dormant accounts. If you are trading and you're struggling a bit, there is also the sister company of Duport, which is Duport Accounting, and they can certainly help you out with anything accounting. As an aside note to that, because we have a separate company that has chartered accountants, if you have accounting related questions, please feel free to send those through to us again, because I can get one of our accountants to answer those and get the answer back to you. So just to let you know, the support is definitely there if you want it. Right, Louise, we were talking about reviews earlier, actually. Louise says, I'm looking for advice on getting reviews. I've got a bed and breakfast. I always send a departure text to try and get my reviews, but they are low. Any other tried and tested method?
I think actually the best time to try and get a review is when people are with you. So in other words, their final breakfast, give them another cup of coffee and ask them if they'd be kind enough to fill in the form while you're gazing at them, batting your eyelids and generally making sure their boiled egg is perfect. A really good time to catch people because they're in the moment. And obviously you've also got TripAdvisor. You can put your B&B up on TripAdvisor. You might get one that isn't so hot, in which case a marvellous idea is to respond to them with grace and say thank you so much for getting in touch. We're most concerned. And if you apologise, I was taught by a marvellous man who's one of my bosses. He said, if you're going to apologise, do it abjectly. Really apologise. Don't say, well, yes, well, I'm sorry, but forget the but. If you're going to be sorry, abjectly apologise and go for it. And doing it on TripAdvisor. And I think TripAdvisor is a really good idea because people then say, oh, we're going to Oswestry and look up and they'll find the restaurant and the B&B and all the rest of it. Oh, obviously, there are also B&B, and I don't know them, but a lot of federations of bed and breakfast and organisations locally, the local council, all those people will have facilities. And of course, there's your own website, which can be beautifully marked because you've put it together. Okay, that's as far as I'd take it at the moment, but I think those are the things that, because word of mouth, I go back to this. In my experience, word of mouth is the most potent because people really talk about how wonderful you were. And it's like everything else with a B&B. Make sure that your service is as good as you'd wish to have it and some. So in other words, it's not just a case of offering a good service, and it's the little things very often that count, and the little things people will pick up. Like somebody didn't say good morning to me. How silly, they were busy, they were on the phone or something, but it doesn't matter. It's those things that really matter. And that comes out in personal reviews.
It does. I mean, I can't stress enough how important reviews are. And I think a lot of people overlook them, including us ourselves. And I think we only started actively collecting reviews about 2 years ago when I spotted that, as you were saying about negative reviews, you will get people going on and putting on the odd negative review, but they won't put on a positive one. And we'd had a couple of negative reviews on, I think it was it Trustpilot? And anyway, this got my act into gear about reviews. And now we've got a good 100, 200 across all the different platforms now. And we've got 5-star reviews. And it just shows when you ask for it, people, if you've given a good service, they will take the time to give the review back. And talking of reviews, Louise, it's actually your lucky month because our newsletter, I think it's coming out on the 28th, I don't know the exact date, is all about reviews and how to ask for reviews. And I would say that one of the biggest problems with reviews and testimonials, something that certainly I've experienced, is you'll work with somebody and they will ask you for a review and you don't know what to say. So what I've put together for this month's giveaway is a whole thing on collecting reviews, but it tells the customer exactly what to write, how to write it, to give them examples. So they're not looking at a blank page. It makes the job really instant and easy for them. And that's what your job needs to be with reviews. The easier you can make the process, the quicker, that's when you're going to get them. But if you just say, will you give me a review? Most people are like, haven't got time for that. So you're always thinking about how can you make it as easy as possible to leave that review. So that's what this month's information is about, that will be going out to everybody. Right?
I just come across, before you go on, just something that's come to mind, and that is that you can actually actively put out a survey requirement, can't you, a review request after the event, like a week or so later. And you probably know more about, because you know I am. But the thing is that it's something you can do.
I mean, just to quickly explain what we do, we have a system where when people have placed orders with us, we send out reviews automatically. And the key to it is for the automatic reviews where we're asking for Trustpilot, Google, FIFO, so we spread it out, is to keep it really short and punchy. 3 lines in those emails, nothing more. Nobody wants to read paragraphs, they haven't got time. And again, I can give you the 3 lines that you may have seen them yourself, the 3-line email that we send just asking for a review with a link that you can click in, leave the review straight away. So sometimes people just want to leave stars, which is great. Other times they'll write a short thing, but leave them no pressure. It will take someone 20 seconds. And if you explain that, you're much more likely to get reviews. And we've built ours up very quickly. Right, we're running out of time.
There is a question on the chat.
Oh, right, Jay's come up. We're now running out of time. Jay, can you send over your email address? What's the best way to register sole trader as a coach? I'm about to start my business and I'm not sure what's more appropriate. Right, Jay, just to let you know, we do have a survey available on our site. I'll send that over to you. You go through all the questions and it will advise you which is the most appropriate business structure. But I'm happy to do a one-to-one with you after this, a call, and we can go through it. And I don't know if you can speak to that quickly before we run out of time.
Yes, very quickly. You can register with Companies House as a sole, and that also allows you to check the name you're going to use, because that's quite important. You don't want to end up using a name that somebody else has got.
I'm just conscious that we're going to run out of time. I think we will extend this next time because I've got a few more questions we haven't answered here, but I'll get back to them directly. But yeah, Jay, I'll contact you separately and I'll send all the bits and pieces out I've promised everybody else too. So hopefully that's been useful to everybody, and we'll be back next month, second Tuesday of the month, to answer more questions, and it would be lovely if everyone could join us again. Thanks, Anne, for your help and support again today.
Great pleasure. Lovely to meet everybody.
You too. Okay, we'll hopefully see you all again next time.
Thank you.